We're on. We're live.
We're live from New York. It's I think I've done this joke before. It's button rappers dead because we're not live. This is a pre-recorded episode.
Yep.
How do we start episodes?
We're doing Wario Land today.
Yeah, Wario.
The
Follow
series
up.
that literally nobody ever wants us to do.
I love it, dude. If there's like three things you need to know about the button mappers, I shouldn't have said three because I only have two. It's that we love Abe from Oddworld, and we love fucking Wario, dude. I don't know what the third one is. What's the third one? Do you have a third one?
Um, um, we love Dragon Quest.
You, the subscriber,
We're
the
really
viewer.
big into Dragon Quest on this show.
We love you. Yeah, but today we're talking about a game better than Dragon Quest. Today we're talking about Wario Land 4. Weird choice, I know, but it's a weird game for a weird guy, and we love him.
It's a weird choice, and maybe we would address the elephant in the room. It is not the one that we promised them.
No, the Mickey one.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh well. We had well look that was like pre change in management on the
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
This is post change in management on the show. You know.
Mm-hmm. This is what you
That
get.
we
It's
no,
like
technically
before.
technically we promised a Mickey map out,
Mm-hmm.
and this isn't a map out.
True. If you came
So
here for a map out, you'll be disappointed because this is
I guess
the
I
Remember
guess
series.
legally our next map out has to be Mickey Magical Quest 2.
True. Yes.
But we don't do map outs anymore, so
May not get it. Yeah.
yeah. Welcome people to the button mappers. This is the end of the year, so this is a fun time. Usually at the end of the year for the button mappers, we like to celebrate, have a good time, and play something Mario related. And that's been a tradition for a while. And eventually, like last year, it shape shifted into playing Wario.
Mm-hmm.
So here we are.
And famously, like we were like we asked because occasionally we'll ask the community or various people within it if they'll join us for map outs and stuff. And I think we asked like 4 different people, and they all said no. They would not play a Wario
Oh yeah,
game.
yeah. Yeah, last year nobody was getting on Wario Land with us. They were like, "No."
And yet, some of the
Why?
Wario Land, one of the Wario Lands, I think is like one of my favorite videos we've ever done.
Yeah, they're good. Well, Wario's just stupid, man, and
Mm-hmm.
it's fun to do videos on Wario. So you're missing out, people. So we didn't invite anybody to this one. We didn't even try. This was like a last minute decision from us.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah. Um. So yeah, we have previously talked about Wario Land, the first entry in the franchise, which I think we talked about mainly because we did Mario Land 2, and then that was the follow up to Mario Land 2, and it like morphed into a whole different franchise from there.
Yeah.
And then this is like from Wario Land 1 to Wario Land 4. This is technically the fifth entry in the Wario Land franchise from that point, because there's like two other Game Boy games, and then a Virtual Boy game, and then this game. So we're like pretty far down the Wario timeline
Can
now.
can you emulate Virtual Boy games? Like, is that available?
I don't know. I don't know. I'd be interested. I know that's like one of the like there's like 12 Virtual Boy games I think in total, and I know that's like one of the better ones. Is that Wario Land one?
One of
I don't know. I
the
don't know.
better Virtual Boy games. Um,
I I I thought for sure they would put that like on 3DS, as like a 3Dified like virtual console game, but they never did.
maybe that's like an untapped market we could dip into, is like doing Virtual Boy games, because like how many people review those?
And we could do the entire library because there's like 12 of them.
That's true. I think the Remember series should entirely be devoted to Virtual Boy games in 2025. I think that's
Why, Spencer? One of the Virtual Boy games is actually a Persona spinoff.
really.
Yeah, Jack Frost got a game.
Oh, cool! Wow, I didn't know
The
that.
little dude. Yeah, yeah, he has like a cute little mascot game on the Virtual Boy.
That would, I think that would get us some subscribers.
We could play Nestor's Funky Bowling, which is the mascot for Nintendo Power. He got a bowling game. What were they doing? What were they doing?
And everyone like trashes on like Google and stuff, and other company like Sony for the PSP, where they're like they just abandoned it. Nintendo released a console and made 12 games for
Yeah, Nintendo. Yeah, they released a console, and then they were like, "All right, this shit
it.
sucks. We gotta get out of here."
Yeah.
And then they just dropped it. So I feel bad for anybody that bought one of those things. It's like, wow, a new Nintendo console. I can't wait for the support.
I'm gonna look this up. Can you emulate Virtual Boy? Um,
Would it be hilarious to play Virtual Boy on my Steam Deck?
I guess there are emulators for it. I mean, obviously, you're not gonna be like in the same format, like with the head thing. I guess you could. I'm sure there's a way to do.
If I, yeah, if you had like an Oculus, I'm sure you could do it
Yeah,
that way.
that's true. You could put it on like an Oculus or something. But I mean, okay. Theoretically, these are on the table.
Hell yeah, the blinding red table.
We should do it. I don't know because it's like how many people are talking about Virtual Boy games, but everyone knows about them. At least in like a
I love this idea. I love this idea of doing Virtual Boy. I'm down for that for 2025. Doing some Virtual Boy,
yeah.
hopping right in there.
Let's do Jack Frost first because that has like Persona's big now, so that has like some crossover. And
Yeah,
we'll test the
yeah.
waters. We'll test the waters on our viewers. They're their little guinea pigs.
The waters, the
Oh, you're
waters.
tying it back into the Wario Land. I like that.
Wah!
Very nice.
Yeah, well, he's on there too. Um, so yeah, this is remember Wario Land 4? Um, and Wario Land 4 is a game that I've played before, but hadn't like really devoted a lot of time to. And Spencer, I know, has probably never touched this game, right?
Hmm.
New experience.
None.
Um, and I'm I'm super curious what this like what you thought of this game, and we'll get into that. But I do want to note that correct me if I'm wrong, but if I remember, you didn't really like Wario Land that much, did you? Or like you weren't that impressed by it.
No. No, not particularly. It felt like it was weird because it was like it felt like it was in the engine of a Mario game, but was trying not to be a Mario game. But it felt like it was a Mario game. It was weird. But yeah, I just felt like it didn't really deliver on anything.
Okay, and I'm sure at some point we will probably go back and talk about some of the other Warrior games we're skipping, you know. But I thought doing 4 would be cool because 4 is like the fan favorite game of the
Mm,
series. And also kind of it's like inspired a lot of other games. More notably, one of the biggest indie games in like the last year or so, Pizza Tower, is directly inspired by this game.
mm.
Um,
I've
which
never
I
heard
actually
of
play
Pizza
Pizza Tower.
Tower. What is it?
Oh, really?
Oh.
Pizza Tower is fucking awesome. It's basically Wario Land 4 but on crack, and it's fucking awesome. It's you play as a pizza chef. It's like pizza pepperoni guy. I forgot his name. And you're basically trying to climb this tower, and the levels get like increasingly more insane. I would love to do that on the show sometime. It's a fucking great game. I played it on
Okay.
my Steam Deck this year. It's awesome. And then there's like another one that I know was directly inspired by this game, but um, if you look up content about this game online, it's like kind of heralded as like a hidden masterpiece or like one of Nintendo's like forgotten gems, that people
Mm,
don't really talk about. And I thought that was interesting because like after this game, Nintendo only did one other Wario Land game on the Wii, and then they've kind of abandoned it. Like Wario's, I think Wario now is more known for the WarioWare stuff and like
Mm,
the party games
yeah.
than the land games. So I thought it'd be interesting to like take the most popular land game and kind of talk about it and analyze it.
Okay. Yeah. It's weird. So this is considered like a hidden gem, you might say.
Yeah, a hidden gem. I wouldn't say Metal Jesus would say that.
Melodies would say that. We would not. It. Yeah. I don't know if I would go that far. But it is
Eh,
good. It is the best Wario game I've played for sure.
out of two.
Well, I think it's 3 now, right?
Did you play another? Oh yeah, you played Blast, Wario Blast, right?
No, but didn't we also do another? We did 2 map outs of Wario games, didn't we?
No, I thought we just did Land. I don't
I
remember.
swear we did 2. All right. If maybe out of the ones I played, yes, this would be the number one.
Okay, cool, cool. I've been in the Wario mood. Actually, the other day, my mom was like, she was buying some Christmas gifts and she ran out of stuff to buy me. She was like, "Hey, can you like send me a game you wanted?" So I sent her. I was like, "Okay, I want this one," and it was WarioWare Get It Together on Switch. So I'm like, "Hell yeah, I'm getting a Wario game this Christmas."
It's gonna be good.
Hell yeah.
Do you prefer
um,
the new Wario Land style or new Wario games, like the quick mini games versus the Wario Land style games?
It's kind of like apples and oranges, though, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
like the two completely different styles of games. I think the humor in this game particularly is closer to the humor in the WarioWare stuff, but WarioWare is way more quirky.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like the WarioWare stuff because it has so much personality and like different characters it has in the series too, outside of just Wario. Like it has its own cast of characters and stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's fun, you know. And I don't know.
Well, I noticed that in this game there was like a hint of that WarioWare stuff in those mini games.
Yeah.
Those felt very WarioWare.
Oh, there's some weird stuff in this game, and we're gonna talk about that for sure. I'm just curious. Did you beat the game, or how far did you get?
I mean, so I was a little bit sick this week, and I made a mistake of thinking this would be much easier to get through. And it's not hard. The game is not hard, but I was just a little bit woozy. Um, I am literally at the final boss. I made my
Hmm.
first run at it and just ran out of time. Um, but no, I had not officially beaten it. But yeah, I'm like at my Steam Deck right here. Let me get it up, and I'm at the final boss.
Ooh, we played it the same way on the Steam Deck. Man, this game looks fucking awesome on the Steam Deck. I just want to add like GBA games look really good on the Steam Deck. Granted, they're not like trying to be like early 3D or something, but
GBA games look great. They basically I always think of them as like Super Nintendo games on steroids. They just look
basically,
yeah, they
yeah,
look like they have effects that Super Nintendo doesn't have and but they still have the same like bits, but they look incredible.
yeah.
Yeah.
The only problem I have with some of them, especially when you emulate them, is if you emulate the ones like early, like some of the earlier games, like take for example like the port of like Mario World on GBA, it looks weird. It looks washed out because they had to like compensate for the fact that the original GBA didn't have a backlight or like any sort of lighting system. So they had to like brighten the colors. So when you emulate it, it looks like off from the original game, and so some of the early GBA stuff does that, and
Mm.
this game it wasn't noticeable at all. But like, there's some other games that I've played where I'm like, wow, these colors are like really saturated, and like, but like that's why it's because it's a complicated looking game and they want you to see it because you're playing on a non-backlit system.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like Nintendo just put a light in there, and they did eventually.
They said, "Okay. Okay, we'll put a light in it. We'll let you
All
see the
right,
game. You you've been asking for it. We're going to let you see the game that you bought."
all right.
Y-
I just, and I had that original GBA, and it's as nostalgic as I am for it. Like, I have an SP, and I fucking love that thing. And I still play my SP now.
SP all the way,
But
baby.
yeah, it's just to me, it's like not as comfortable where it's just a square, and the first one was like actually like molded to like fit your hand.
I've
Yeah.
got small little rat hands, so I
Oh,
work well with handhelds. I'm a handheld guy.
little rat hands.
Yeah.
So speaking of the GBA, this game was a launch title for the
Oh, I
GBA.
didn't know that.
Yes, it came out in 2001. And Japan, it came out in Japan first. It came out August 21st, 2001. And then the rest of the world, it came out in various dates in November 2001. Now, between August 21st and November 2001, something big happened. And I'm not blaming Wario.
Well, we're not outright
We're not
saying
outright, yeah.
that Wario caused this, but
But I'm just saying, what is this the closest game release to that point? Who knows?
are you accusing Wario of 9/11?
No, 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 what? No, no. I'm just saying that it just so happens that Wario Land came out August 21st, 2001 in Japan, and then something tragic happened. That's all that I'm just making a timeline.
Okay. You're not intimating that
There's no cause and
Wario
effect. No.
Wario had something to do with the tragedy in New York.
He wasn't. No, Wario. It wasn't his plan. It wasn't Wario's plan. Okay, just just to clear the air.
Maybe there was a jewel in the
In the world.
in one of the towers, in the top of the tower, and the only way he could think to do it was to smash a plane into it.
Well, that's what he does to everything else, right? Just smash stuff.
Yeah, plane specifically smashes planes into.
I would love to create a new conspiracy theory that Wario caused 9/11.
Let's do it right here. Let's begin.
Yeah.
So like we got to put all the pieces in place though. You got to have a motive.
Well, his only motive's money.
Okay,
So
as most people's are.
yeah.
And so somehow the destruction of 3 buildings in New York. Remember that. Uh,
Who was paying? Who was paying him? That's what I need to know.
well, that's the thing is, do you think he would do it as a job, or do you think he would do it as like his own scheme somehow?
Only if there's money involved. That's the problem.
Right, but do you think somebody would pay him, or do you think he would be like, I can get money from this?
Do you think it was an insurance scam?
Ooh. We need to go check the logs to see if
We need to go deeper.
anybody named Wario took an insurance policy out on those buildings. It could have been Wario.
It could have been Wario.
I don't know. And if you watch closely when the plane hits, you can hear a wah. If you gotta look real, you gotta be like be very like listening for it. But you'll hear it. It goes wah.
I mean, but the plane couldn't have taken down that building. There had to be an explosion from the inside, right? That's what they all say.
Well, I think Wario. There's footage. I've seen footage of Wario holding bombs.
Oh yeah, yeah.
In this game, actually.
He's been and in this game, and he's also a known associate of Bomberman.
True.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. The evidence is kind of piling up here.
It's kind of damning.
Yeah.
But we can't officially say that Wario caused 9/11, but
we're kind of doing it though.
Kind of did.
I don't know. We'll leave it up to the viewers to determine that. We just presented the evidence, the strong evidence that it's possible, and then the viewers can make a decision on their own.
So yes, this was a GBA launch title, 2001, early GBA. You know, I think it was my first time seeing a GBA game. I have this weird memory, and I can't tell you like where I was or who I was with. I think I was with my parents, like visiting maybe like a friend of theirs, and they had like a son or something that was like a little older than me. And I remember like going downstairs to like where his room was in their house, and like he was like watching TV or something, and then I remember seeing that original like Indigo Game Boy Advance on like the little couch in his room,
Yeah.
and like wondering what it was because I think at the time I had like Game Boy Color, and then like turning it on, and I this was the game he had in there,
Hmm.
and I remember being like seeing the opening crawl with like Wario driving and stuff, and I I don't know how much of it I played because like the memory is really foggy, but I can like definitively say like this is the first GBA game I ever saw.
Yeah, mine was Mario Kart. I never saw this game.
Super Circuit, right?
Yeah, Super Circuit. First game I ever saw not in person was that caught my eye was Golden Sun. I was like, holy shit, that's beautiful.
Oh,
But I saw it
how
in like a
early is that
commercial
game?
or something. Um, yeah, I saw it in like a commercial, and then but I remember the first game I ever saw like in person was Mario Kart Super Circuit.
Uh, um,
But see that the Mario Kart Super Circuit wasn't as impressive because it was like, well, we've already had Mario Kart 64, and it's like this
yeah,
is
but like at the time it was kind of impressive, right? It was like on the go
eh.
because like handhelds were still rinky dink little things at that point, you know.
Yeah, I mean it was impressive for that, but it wasn't like Golden Sun, which blew me out of the
Yeah,
water. It like Golden Sun looked better than an N64 game in a lot of ways, like in the combat.
it had that like pre-rendered too, had like
Hmm.
pre-rendered style and stuff, and that's Camelot, right? Like
Yeah,
that's a great looking game.
yeah. Whereas Mario Kart was more like this is the promise of the GBA is
Yeah,
like Super Nintendo, and it was like okay,
yeah.
well that's kind of cool, but you know I'd seen Mario Kart 64, and it's like well, eh.
You know, and as weird as it is that like they had a GB. Like, okay, so the GBA was basically a souped up Super Nintendo, and they only like in terms of Mario like platformers, they only ever released remakes of his games to that thing. It was always Mario World, Mario 3, Mario 2, Yoshi's Island. Like they didn't do anything new. So like honestly, I think if you're looking for like a I don't want to say mainline, but like a Mario platformer, Wario Land 4 might be your best choice because
Might be your
there
only
wasn't really
choice.
anything. Yeah, there wasn't really like another Mario platformer on the console. Weird, isn't it?
Yeah,
Strange.
it is
It's such a
strange that they were just which kind of makes sense because they were like we have a thing that can do Super Nintendo games. Why not just re-release all the Super Nintendo games we made? It's like yeah, I guess, and then that's what they did. Um, but yeah, they never really made like a straight like a new Mario platformer, did they?
I guess this or they did that Mario versus Donkey Kong. That one also like considered close to it, you know, for being
Yeah.
like, but still, it's not like a traditional Mario game. So I
To
don't
be
know.
honest, I like the Game Boy Advance for a bunch of games that had nothing to do with Nintendo specifically.
Yeah,
Like I like the third party stuff they had going on for it. Even the games that were like Nintendo franchises, like Zelda. My favorite one is Minish Cap, which is Capcom. Like they
yeah, that's true.
like a lot of the stuff that other people made, I prefer. Like it has a lot of good RPGs. Nintendo ain't making no RPGs. Technically, I guess Fire Emblem, but even that was like
Pokemon. I mean,
Fire Emblem was like intelligent systems, which I guess is owned by them, I'm sure. But like still, it was there's a lot of games that aren't really Nintendo. Like Mario Kart, like I said, I couldn't give two
oh,
shits about.
Mario Luigi though, Superstar. It's a good
Yeah,
game.
yeah, and that was by Infogrames,
I don't know.
Alpha Dream. I think it's by Alpha
Alpha
Dream.
Dream.
But
Yeah,
and it probably again probably owned by Nintendo, but still, it's like kind of outside their thing.
but this is Nintendo R&D 1. That's like right in there, dude. This is right in the headquarters. Um, like and so Nintendo used to be split up into different R&D teams. I think now the teams have changed drastically, um, and they still have this sort of system, but like the R&D teams split into different things now, and now they like there's like a team that focuses on like Zelda now, a team that focuses on Mario, Animal Crossing, whatever. But used to be
Mhm.
they had different R&D teams, and they did different things. So Before we actually talk about Wario Land 4, I think it is notable to talk about like some of the other stuff that R&D made.
Mm.
Um, and in terms of Nintendo games, they because they're the dev for Nintendo, like one of the biggest ones. They made a lot of early arcade games, including Donkey Kong and DK Jr. and Mario Bros. Like those are all R&D one. They did a lot of the Game and Watch stuff, just a shit ton of Game and Watch. Um, and then when it comes to like the NES, they did ports of a lot of the arcade games. They did Duck Hunt, which is more arcadey. Clue Clue Land, our favorite punching bag on the show. And then more notably, Metroid. Metroid is the original Metroid's in R&D one
Mm.
joint. Yeah, Kid Icarus, that's an R&D one game. I'm just going through. They have a huge list here.
They
Fire Emblem.
and they made the Game Boy.
Yeah, because like they made Game and Watch. Like that was sort of their thing. Was like the little toys.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Mario Land, of course. Metroid 2, that stuff. So basically, by this point, by the Game Boy's time, they were no longer making like mainline Mario games, even though they created Donkey Kong, right? They were no longer making mainline Mario games. They're making like spin-off games like Mario Land and Mario Land 2, which we've covered.
Mm-hmm.
Um, then they go into Wario Land, which we covered, and Super Metroid the same year. So like Wario and Metroid were sort of their thing for a while, and that was like their focus was doing Wario and Metroid, and then R&D one lasted up until Metroid Zero Mission, and maybe that's where they started to shift the teams around.
Mm-hmm.
But really, yeah, towards the end of their career, it was Wario and Metroid that was their big focus. Um, and it looks like other than the WarioWare and WarioWare, like the first two WarioWare games for Game Boy Advance and GameCube, this was their last like traditional Wario game. So I think it's cool, and there's like a lot of their DNA here that we'll talk about.
That's cool. Yeah, I didn't realize. Wow, yeah, they made a ton of stuff, and I can't believe it. They made the Game Boy and the Game Boy Pocket and the Virtual Boy.
Yeah, I think Gunpei Yokoi was big into R&D one like as part of their team, and he's behind like a lot of that stuff, the Game and Watch, the Game Boy, you know.
All
Um,
right, that's cool.
so yeah, a little bit of Nintendo knowledge today. Which makes up for the fact that neither one of us have much to say about our time, our history with this damn game.
Yeah.
um, are you ready to jump into it?
Let's do it. Let's. Well, I was gonna try to do something with Wario's name, but you can't really. Let's. Wah!
What?
I don't know.
Let's let's
Wah!
let's slam into it.
Let's slam
Or
into it. Let's
yeah,
slam a plane into it. Let's get this going.
let's slam, let's crash a plane into it. Let's go.
Yeah.
Um, so this is the plot taken straight off of Wikipedia, which I do want to say, when you start this game up, there is actually a pretty good like little animation that plays that kind of tell you the story.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Wario is reading the newspaper when he notices an article about a mysterious pyramid found deep in the jungle. The legend related to the pyramid is that of Princess Shakura? I don't know, ruler of the pyramid, who was cursed by the money crazed Golden Diva. As he enters it, he finds a black cat and chases it. Doing so, he falls down. I don't know. He gets trapped in the pyramid. Then you find a smaller pyramid in the pyramid. Basically, Wario's just there to get some treasure because he's Wario. That's his deal.
Yeah. He likes
He-
treasure.
he-
Who doesn't?
yeah, he doesn't need another motive. He just wants money. And I like that.
Yeah, he's relatable. He's like an everyman.
Yeah, yeah. People always call Wario like Nintendo's like scummiest character, right? Or like scummiest hero, I guess. But I don't know, man. Like, I'd probably go spelunking if I found out like there's a pyramid over there. I could go raid some treasure from.
Why not?
Yeah,
You can be rich beyond your wildest dreams. You just go into like a
yeah,
pyramid. I'm there.
yeah. And then there's some other story stuff that we'll talk about later. It's going to be really interesting for you, I think, because you haven't finished the game. Um, because there's actually four endings to this game.
Oh shit! Serious?
Yeah, but they're like very iterative,
Oh
but they're all pretty funny. Um, so we'll talk about that, I
yeah.
guess, later on. So yeah, that's the basic setup. Not much is really happening story wise. From here, you fall down the pyramid, and then you find a smaller pyramid in the pyramid, which is confusing. And you're
You can
you're
see our
made to do.
confusion.
Whoa, what's this pyramid doing in this pyramid? Uh, and you're made to do a tutorial stage, which teaches you the mechanics and the basic gameplay of Wario Land 4. What now, Spencer? You haven't played Wario Land 2 or 3. They shift the gameplay a lot during those titles, and this game pulls a lot of elements from Wario Land 3 while also introducing a lot of its own elements.
Mhm.
Um, so and feel free to hop in here whenever you want. The basic setup for these stages are basically they're like half platform challenge, half like collectathon. So each stage you want to find four pieces of a gem to put together. You want to find a key, which is like a little bird key looking thing. I have no clue what the hell it's supposed to be. And then you want to hit a frog switch. And once you hit the frog switch, the level shifts and you have a timer that's set. And you have to get out of the stage before the timer counts down. So that's where the real platform challenge comes in. Um,
I
and
don't. I don't know that I ever felt that there was a platform challenge.
okay,
Um, Dexterity didn't seem to be a part of this game. But what I did observe was I think what they were trying to go for was heists. I think every
hmm
level was supposed to be a heist, and so it was like go in, get all the gems, hit the thing, and now you have a timer to get out, which is it's an interesting take on a level design because you have to make the design make sense forward and backwards, which was kind of cool, or you had to make them loop in a way that was satisfying. Um, so I thought that was really inventive and really cool, and was probably a cool challenge for the developers because you would see like at the beginning, you'd be walking and you'd notice like a pathway that you can't access. And when at the beginning of the game, you're like, "That's really weird." You try to get up it, and you're like, "I have no idea how to get up there. That's weird." And then it would make sense at the end of the level when you'd be running backwards and you'd done stuff throughout the level to get to that point. And then later on, it became a thing where you're just kind of trusting the flow of the design, and so you're just like, well, I know that I'll be able to get that later, so I'll just trust that the way that they're moving me along the level will make sense, and usually it did. So really like a credit to their level design um, was that they could make this so seamless despite being very different in approach.
yeah. Well, by platform challenge, I just meant like the speed, like the part where you have to run out of the stage,
Mm,
like that. Like it's yeah, it's true. The platforming itself is really the challenge, but like the pressure of the timer,
gotcha. Yeah.
and like sometimes I've gotten to the timer and I only have one piece of my gem, and I'm like, oh shit, like I need to get my other two, like the three pieces, so I can get, because I have to get the gem. So then on the way back, I'm like, there's a timer going, and I have to like try to search around for stuff, you know, which I
And
think
then
is
in
fun.
in true ingenious like Wario fashion, if you run out of time, you just start losing your coins. It's like your health,
Yeah,
which is great.
yeah, oh yeah, bleeding money.
Yep. Time is money. Yeah.
So yeah, this game introduced that element of like the timer, which I think is really cool. And yeah, not a lot of games have done it since. The follow-up game to this one on Wii, Shake It, did the same thing with the timer.
Mm.
Um, and then Pizza Tower, the game I was talking about, also takes a cue from this and like has the same sort of level setups, where you had to get out of the level. Um, yeah, I think it's cool, and like sometimes they play with that, and we could talk about some of the level themes because from here, after you do like the tutorial stage, the game opens up, and you basically have four pathways you can go down, and each pathway has its own set of stages, and you can do them in like any order you want. So it's good for replayability. and there's also other things that are good for like replayability, which I'll talk about later. Um, but yeah, from there it really opens, and you have like four different hallways with different themes. You have the Emerald Passage, the Ruby Passage, the Topaz Passage, and the Sapphire Passage.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and like
And
we just
there's no order requirement.
yeah, yeah. There's no order. All that matters is that you get those gems in each stage, or else you're not going to be able to fight the boss in each passage
Hmm.
and get to the end of the game. Um, which I think is an interesting setup for a platformer game like this. Um,
Yeah, it's interesting. Although I'm not sure how you would do it, but I just felt like there was no interconnectivity between them, so it was like it was ultimately pointless.
yeah, it's Wario.
Yeah.
It's like anytime I was trying to make like a logical conclusion about anything like that, I had to remind myself I'm playing Wario. I'm like, oh yeah, okay,
All right. All right.
whatever.
And
All right, so
I
now we can just kind of talk about the stages, and we're not going in order.
okay. I will
What?
say that I accidentally went to the
What are we
Sapphire
gonna
one first. And that was
do?
a mistake.
Oh,
That was a mistake. And I actually beat the level, but didn't get all the pieces. But I was actually still confused at that
mm,
point, like what the whole point was, like getting the key, getting all the pieces, and then getting out. I didn't quite grasp that yet, so I was just very confused playing it. But if you go the other way, it makes a lot more sense.
yeah. Do you just curious? Do you like that like setup? The fact that you have to collect things in the stages.
Initially, I was groaning about it because I don't like platformers per se, and one thing that they do a lot is like collectathon stuff. And I was initially miffed that that was going to be like a thing, like you got to collect everything because that's how you progress. Um, but I found it very inoffensive the way they did it in this game. It wasn't like an absolute bitch to get everything. It was actually pretty easy. So no, I was fine. I was okay with it.
Okay. And we don't have to go in order, but we could just kind of talk about some of the levels that we liked. Well, maybe some we didn't like some of the designs. Um, and honestly, I think of the first passage area, Emerald Passage. I don't know if I cared about any of the stages because they're all sort of just traditional platformer fare on in that area.
Hmm.
It was just like grassy areas, lakes, that sort of stuff, jungles.
Yeah,
Yeah, they were cool to look at. Like one of them had a really cool rain effect, I think, but they weren't anything like extraordinary, you know, in that passage for me. I was just like, yeah, it's
yeah. I
cute.
mean, it was good for teaching me because that's where I really learned the gameplay loop here of go forward through the level, collect all the as many as you can of the jewels, get the keyser instead of this is the key guy. Get the keyser and then go back and hit the frog thing and then go back. That's where I was learning the game. So I appreciated them. I guess in retrospect they were obviously simplistic, but any platformer is literally designed that way. Like Sonic has Green Hill Zone and etc.
Yeah. What did you think of? I think we might see our first transformation in one of these stages, if I remember. What did you think of the transformations? Because that is something that is carried over from Wario Land 3.
Mm,
Is the fact that certain elements of the stages will transform Wario, and sometimes it's tricky to figure out what it is or like how to use it. Um,
yeah.
but I think it's a really cool concept.
I think it's very funny. Because if you think about like a Mario game, you would be told not to get hit by fire, right? Like you would die. But Wario is the inverse of that. Is that you sometimes
Mhm.
you want to get hit by the fire because it will help you progress through the level. So you'd like light yourself on fire and then scream and run into things, and you might run into a thing that can only be burnt down by fire. Um,
Yeah,
that's very funny to me. I think that's an interesting gameplay design where they're like, what would Mario be like, and then how do we make the exact opposite of that and make it a playable game? And I think they achieved that here, which is really Again, like a testament to the game designers here. It's very funny.
Yeah, there's some damn funny transformations. Sadly, none of them are new. All these are in Wario Land 3, but that's fine.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, I think the way they use them in this game are smart. There's some really funny ones. I love when you get stung by a bee and then your head just swells up and you start floating around.
Yeah.
Like Wario's having like a really bad allergic reaction. Yeah, and like you have to use that for different puzzles. Like there's puzzles in these stages that do require this stuff. That's like actually pretty thoughtful.
Yeah.
Um, there's and I think in a factory stage later on, there's these things that crush you, and at first it's like, oh shit, like you don't want that to happen. But no, you want it to happen because you're gonna use Crush Wario to like scoot around. And there's like different things like that. There's a snowball one where you roll into a snowball. There's a spring
Oh
one.
god, that level. That snowball level. Oh my god. That was a pain in the ass.
There's some like great little transformations. There's one where you become a zombie. Which
Yeah.
I thought was awesome.
That is so
Mario.
funny.
Yeah, I love the fact that like again, this is stuff they couldn't get away with in a Mario game, but like since it's Wario, Nintendo's like, yeah, fuck him over, do whatever you want to him.
Kill him.
So yeah,
Literally.
kill him. I mean, he basically he dies many times in those transformations, so it's like whatever. Wario.
It is. It's just so. It makes him seem kind of like indestructible, but it also, in a way, like you said, it was like every game, every level was more of like a puzzle to solve, usually through some kind of brute force, but like some kind of puzzle, um, and not like a hard one, but just like of greed. Like puzzle, like
Yeah.
one thing I liked about the new God of War series was they had little puzzles, but they were solved with like brutality. So like it was like you have to make this platform rise. How do you do it? Well, you're probably gonna have to hit something, and you're gonna have to hit it like really hard. And that was like the solution to everything, which I thought was like thematically impressive. In this one, they were able to keep the themes of his greed and of his like desire to like his selfishness was like a theme of his. Like some of the puzzles where you would grab somebody and throw them at an objective. It's like
Oh, the little puzzle rooms with the scientist
yeah,
guy. Oh,
yeah.
I love those because it's always like every time I enter the room, I was like, okay, where's that fucking scientist? Because every time I find him, I'm gonna fucking throw him at something
Yeah,
or throw him in the water or whatever.
yeah. And I like that the puzzles kind of they were smart enough to revolve them around it. I remember one. There's one guy that transforms you into like a really like heavy bloated version of yourself, which is ironic because that's kind of what you are anyway. But he made you like this heavy bloated version. You would crush things below you, but you couldn't. The problem was that he was on the bottom floor and you had to crush something that was on the top floor. So what you had to do was jump on him, so you like knocked him over, and then pick him up and then carry him up to the top floor, put him back down, then let him transform you. And it's just that funny like it's like a very selfish thing where you're like really just intruding on his life and like bothering him just so you can
Oh,
get
and
something done.
I absolutely love the fact that even in my description that I just gave you of the off the Wikipedia, they never explain who this fucking scientist is or what he's doing there. And like a
Yeah.
normal yeah, and like a normal Mario game, I'm thinking like Luigi's Mansion. They have like Professor Egad in that game, and it's like, oh Luigi, help me get No, Wario's just fucking with this dude. Like
Mhm.
the guy's probably having like his whole other expedition there,
Yeah.
and then Wario's just intruding.
He's trying to understand the intricacies of the pyramid, why there's a pyramid inside a pyramid. He's trying
Yeah.
to understand that, and he's doing it. And here comes Wario. He just picks him up and throws him at people.
It's like it's so fucking funny.
It's genius.
Uh, so you did mention the puzzle aspect. Something that I think is genius about this game as well is the fact that while there's not that many stages to the game itself isn't that long. They get a lot of longevity out of the ideas within these stages. Some of the stage gimmicks are very unique and very different, and nothing repeats really.
Right.
And the stage game could be as simple as, the lake area where the water flows in different directions. Sure. But they get as complex as, and my favorite one was later on you go to the volcano.
My favorite too.
And oh, that one's so fucking cool. That
Mhm.
one's like you because like the forward way through, you're playing through just a regular fire volcano stage, and it's like okay, this is a standard fire level, right? And then you get to the end, you hit the frog clock, and then everything freezes over,
Yeah.
and then you're playing like the game in reverse, and like the things are frozen, and there's different passageways, and there's different ways of like thinking about how to like progress. And I was like, damn, what a cool idea.
Yeah, and playing that level made me realize that I think a lot of the previous levels that there were some um there's some missed opportunities
Hmm.
with that concept of the frog like reversing something in the level. I think there's something
Hmm.
to that that they never really explored outside of the volcano one because like the volcano one, yeah, like let's take the theme of the level and completely flip it on its head when you click the frog button. Other levels could have done something like that where it's like, but usually it was just like blue platforms are gone now or something like something.
Sometimes they do. I think in the doodle stage with the guy that like doodles and chases you around, whenever you hit the frog clock, like all hell breaks loose and like just doodles start coming to life everywhere
Hmm.
as you like try to escape. So that one kind of does it, I think.
Yeah, but I don't think any of them really did it as good as that volcano one. Like that one was like mind blowing. I was like,
That was peak.
wow.
That yeah, no, that was the peak of the game for me right there. Was the volcano stage. It
Yeah,
was awesome.
awesome level. Like that. If any level represents like what this game was going for, it's got to be that level.
But even with that said, I don't think any of the other stages are bad. Like I don't know if there's a stage in here that I would consider just a bad stage. There's some that
I
there's a
do.
few that I think are boring. But okay, what's your bad stage?
Well, don't you think boring is bad? It's supposed to be fun.
I mean it's like inoffensive. Like the most boring one to me was the pinball level. Like that one was like the one I was like, like there's not much happening. Like it was cute. Like, you had to throw the pinballs in the boxes. But
I thought that the ice stage was really offensive.
the factory. Oh yeah, that's right. You were talking about that with the snowball.
Yeah, it was like I felt like some of the pieces of that game that level like broke rules of what I was expecting out of it. And it was like if you go through the left side, it just kind of repeats again. This like it stays on the same screen but moves you to the right and keep going. I don't know. There were weird elements there that I don't think were that clever. Um and it was just kind of groan inducing. And also slippery ice and like the things that fall from the like the what do you call them? I guess it wouldn't be stalactites because they're not rock, but like just the ice that falls down like as a dagger. Shit like that is just not very fun. It's just like, oh, you're gonna get hit by it sometimes. Like, thanks. Just really annoying.
I didn't mind that stage, but that stage is definitely the most like maze like one of the game. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's more. That's like the probably the most like puzzly one. I think. Um, Not really puzzle. It's just like the way you progress.
Yeah, it was just more annoying. It was like a lot of obstacles to get to things, and the obstacles weren't fun. Like I remember on it, there's the one where you're climbing this like wall to get up to the top, and there's that guy that shoots like ice beams that turn you into an ice and shoot you the opposite way until you break.
Little Yeti guy.
Yes. And I just remember a part where you had to go past him, and I mean I figured out how to get through it where he wouldn't hit you, but he hit me a lot. And it didn't like change the course of the level. It just was like really annoying. That was it. Like it wasn't. It just that's part of the game design of Wario that is tricky. In that I think in that level they failed at was
Mm.
like how do you make it so in a Mario game that would kill you, and it's like okay I got to learn how to dodge that. In this game, it just really annoys you. It just sets you back like another 15 seconds. And there's at this point there isn't really a timer. but still, it's like why? Why do that?
Yeah, it's
And I
odd.
guess you could say it's because it's Wario, but it's like okay, but then you can't analyze anything. But it's just I found that to be that level to be full of annoyances instead of full of like fun things to do.
Okay. Yeah, and maybe I guess that probably is the most offensive stage in the game. Um, I don't know if there's anything else, like any other stages that I think are that bad though. I think the rest of them are pretty good.
The pinball one was the one where you had to like shoot the balls into the
Yeah,
baskets.
that one I said was kind of the most boring one for me. Like
Yeah,
the idea of like having a pinball stage sounds awesome. I mean, I'm a Sonic fan, right?
yeah.
Um, but like they didn't really do anything with it
It
in
didn't
that
feel
stage.
very pinball-y. Yeah.
Yeah, just yeah. So that one was kind of a letdown. But there are some other ones I really like. There were two horror-based stages that I think were really cool. The Crescent Moon Village one and the Hotel Horror are both really cool. They have like axe murderers, like little axe murderers waddling around, and
Yep.
the village has a ghost that will swipe your key from you as you try to get out. Um, and stuff like there's some really fun ideas in those horror stages, and also just the fact that they're horror stages in general in a platformer are fun.
Yeah, yeah. No, those were great. Those were great stages. The hotel one, God, I could see that as its own game almost.
Yeah, yeah. Just like expand it, right?
Yeah, expand it and like make almost like Metroid, but as a hotel.
Yeah.
There's a lot you could do with that one. That yeah, I just well, I played a game when I was a kid that I tried to play more recently, and it was not good. But as a kid, I really liked it. And it's called Scooby Doo. It's like a Scooby Doo game on the Super Nintendo, and
Hmm.
they had these like I think there were only like 4 levels, but they were huge. And you would just like have an item, and then you would have to find where to use it, and then progress through the game. And granted, again, that game not very good, but conceptually, if you translated that to like a more competent team like this Wario team, I think they could make a longer game, and maybe that's what Wario World is. I don't know. I never played it on the
Nah.
GameCube, but like a more in depth game. No, it's more stages.
Yeah, it's just stage based.
Oh, okay. But yeah, they could make something like that. That would be really cool. Um, yeah, that level in particular, the hotel one, I thought really showed that they if they had more time and more desire to make something bigger, that level could actually be something great.
But there actually is a Wario game that's like similar to what you're asking for. It's Wario Master of Disguise on the DS,
Mm. Okay.
which is sort of like a spiritual follow up. That's like the game that came out after four. But it's not technically part of the Land series though. But that one, like, I don't think it's bad. I actually did play it back in the day on the DS. I think what ruins it is like the it has touchscreen bullshit in it.
Oh.
But like it actually is like a big 2D open area to explore and stuff. And it has like ideas from Wario Land, like the transformations, but they're like full costumes. Like that's the gimmick. Wario changes costumes and he gives them different powers and stuff. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, they sort of kind of did that later on, but it's not this team and it's not as good. But like it's cute. Like I
Changing
didn't hate
changing
it.
costumes to get different powers. That's the Mickey game.
Don't no. That's true. um,
Hmm.
so there's some other good stages, but I think like the passage that I thought had the best, just like consistent ideas and stages was the Topaz one because they're all like very fun and colorful, and they all have different ideas. The first level in that area is kind of just a basic level. It's the toy block level, but it's still cute and it has like some puzzles with like where you have to push blocks or like break certain blocks to
Mm-hmm.
proceed. And that one's fun. Then from there they go nuts because the second one is the big board, which is the one with the spinners where you have to stop the spinners on a certain number to get certain outcomes as like proceed.
Yeah, that one was weird. That one reminded me of maybe it's not really a 1-to-1, but it reminded me of Gunstar Heroes. Wasn't there a level like that
Yeah,
where you play?
yeah.
And
like a
granted,
board
this one
game
didn't
level.
like change the level based on that, but still, it was interesting putting like board game elements into a non-board game. Yeah.
And then I talked about Doodle Woods, which I guess we can go a little more in depth on. Basically, it has like just a guy in the corner that's just drawing the entire stage, and he just draws enemies and stuff to like throw out at you, which I think is funny.
Yeah.
And then when you finish the stage, there's just these drawings all over the place that like start coming to life and stuff. And I thought it was cool, but just the fact that there's just a guy following you drawing shit through the entire level, I thought was funny. I could just hear like the banter of just like Wario being like, "Knock it off,
Yeah, cut it out.
cut it out," and this guy's just drawing shit. I don't know. That's just a really funny idea. And then
God, games like that. Didn't Kirby do a game where you had to like draw his path?
yeah,
Canvas Curse, is that
yeah,
what that was?
yeah, the DS.
That's a clever idea. That obviously this is different, but maybe there should be a game that's like two players or something where one person interacts with the environment in that way and the other
Hmm.
person's got to run through it.
That sounds like a Wii U game. Like what you just
Yeah.
described is probably like a game for Wii U. You know, people like one person plays on the TV and the other one plays on the gamepad. You know,
Yeah,
like that.
someone's be like, "We released it and you didn't buy it." Like, yeah, you're right. I sure did. I came with that idea I wouldn't buy. Yeah.
And then the last one is the domino stage, with I thought was cute because like you had to like outrun the dominoes and stuff. I
It
don't
was
know, like it
cute. I don't think you had to outrun
was
them
cute.
though. I felt like it was
And
just
some of them you had to outrun them, right? I don't
maybe. I don't know. I maybe I played it wrong, but I got through it. Um,
know.
I like the idea of it. I don't know if they actually. I don't know if it integrated itself into the level as much as I would like. Like it was kind of cool. Like,
No,
oh, the dominoes got knocked over. It's like, all right, whatever.
but it's cute.
Yeah, it's cute. It's cute.
And I don't. Are there any other stages you really want to talk about? You want to talk about the landfill where you swim in the shit?
No.
Because he swims in shit. That's shit. That's shit water.
Oh. How come he doesn't like fart and burp?
That is so the fart burp stuff for Wario, sort like the gross stuff for Wario became more prevalent in WarioWare, which mind you comes out after this game.
Hmm.
Um, and then I feel like it was really pushed forward by Smash, by
Okay.
Brawl, where Brawl really made like farting and burping a big part of Wario's character.
I'd
Yeah.
love to be on the boardroom meeting where they had to pitch that. I think if we're gonna have Wario, we need him to be more farty and burpy. Like,
That no, that just sounds like Sakurai, dude. That's a Sakurai decision, right?
oh,
They
okay.
were like, yeah. They were like, okay, so we're bringing Wario in for this one because you know he's Wario and WarioWare is a big franchise for us right now. You know,
Hmm.
and so I think at that point there was like maybe four WarioWare games floating around. You know, so they're like, okay. It's like so we need to make him different from Mario, and then Sakurai just is like, he farts. It's
Yeah.
like,
What if?
oh, okay.
Yeah, like we don't want to make like a skin of Mario. We think people would have problems with that. How do we really differentiate? We're like, hey, he farts a lot and he burps. You go,
Yeah,
oh, yeah. I guess
sure.
that's one thing to do.
um, So yeah, we've kind of covered a lot of the stages, and again, we this isn't a map out, so we're not really going in order. We don't really care that much. Um,
Mhm.
but we do want to talk about some of the boss fights in this game, which I do think are interesting, and just the
Yeah.
approach. So before we even get to the bosses, there's an interesting mechanic in this game, and you kind of talked about it a little bit earlier. So in this game, you have an opportunity to play some mini games. There are three mini games you can play in this game. There's Wario Hop, which is a rhythm-based game where you are rolling on a tire and you have to hop over obstacles, and some of the obstacles are really weird. Like there's a sexy cactus lady, um, but it's pretty cute. I don't know. How'd you feel about Wario Hop?
I only tried one of the games.
Oh, so this mechanic of this game is just flown by your head. I'm gonna blow your mind in a minute.
Well, I know you can
Um,
like it'll help. It can help you like reduce the health of the bosses and shit, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
basically. So there's three mini games. There's Wario Hop. There is also the home run
that's the one I
challenge. I forget what
played.
it's called. Yeah, but that one. It's not as the effect isn't as cool because I'm playing on the Steam Deck. But I imagine if I was playing on the Game Boy, the effect would be cool.
Hmm.
Well, at least the original GBA, not the SP. The SP that would look stupid, but because you had to turn the Game Boy on its side to play that one.
Oh,
Um, yeah, and like it's neat, and it's just a baseball game. You're trying to see how many home runs you can hit, and it's like a top-down view.
I kind of like
Um,
that one. I mean, it's the only one
yeah,
I played, but I liked
it's
it.
fun. It's fun. And then the last one's Wario Roulette, where basically like you have to match these faces, like these like different eyes, nose, mouths on these faces, to get points. So the way the minigame mechanic works is that the more points you get in the minigames, the more frog coins you get. And then you can spend the frog coins in Mr. Game and Watch's shop. Well, yes, Mr. Game and Watch, he's here. Um,
It's
and
callback, yeah.
yeah, I mean, it makes sense for this dev team, right? Um, so yeah, and you could buy different things in Mr. Game and Watch's shop. Like you could buy a cannon or a dragon or whatever it is. And then what'll happen is that once you buy it, he'll follow you into the boss fight, and then he'll use whatever you bought on the boss, and it'll reduce their health. Um,
Oh,
which is fun and also is helpful because the bosses are timed, and the quicker you beat them, the more treasure you get. So you're able to use that mechanic to help you out to like try to get the most treasure. Um,
gotcha.
so that's cool. Also, my favorite button in the game, my favorite thing in the game, and this is why I love Wario so much. It's fucking stupid. Is all the stuff in the shop costs money except for a smile. You can get a free smile,
I
and you
remember
just push the
that.
button. You can just push the button, and he smiles at you. It's that's that's funny.
Smile is free. Yeah,
Yeah.
I looked at the things and I was like, that's cool, but I don't know. It felt like it wasn't. Um, it felt like it wasn't. I didn't understand the connection at first, and then when I pulled up the wiki for it because I was trying to get through that ice level, and it was just miserable. And I was just kind of skimming around. It was like, oh yeah, you could make sure you buy these things because it'll help you beat the bosses easier because of the health reduction thing. I was like, oh okay, whatever. I'm like most of the way through this game at this point. It's like whatever. Um, but no, that would have been useful. Especially, I mean, I probably would have beat if I did stuck to that. I probably would have beaten the last boss because I think she only had like 2 health points when I.
And I know it's like people may see it like, oh man, that's like cheap, buying a cannon and blowing the boss's, like shooting the cannon at the boss, or like buying a dragon and dragon priest fire on the boss. But like, isn't that Wario? Wouldn't he just buy something
Yeah,
to
this is
make
very
it work?
Wario.
He would just buy a cannon and then shoot you with it.
Yeah,
Like,
100%.
yeah, I'm like, no, it works. It like works for the character. Like that's very Wario.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, we could talk about the bosses. There is that eggplant you fight during the tutorial, but it's an easy fight. You just kind of hit it. Fine. But the main bosses, there's a cactus boss. Cractus is his name.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't know. I thought playing him without any aid, I actually got stumped a few times because
Same.
like his little vines he throws out are like pretty pinpoint sometimes. So like I'd be up on the ladder trying to wait for him to come over so I could hit him in the face, and he would get me first. And I'd be like, damn it.
Yeah.
So I actually died to him a couple times.
Yeah, he was
Um,
cool. And it one thing about the Game Boy Advance era was that they had a lot more levels of animation. So like you could have animation going on in the background that didn't correspond with the animation in the foreground. So his like fist that kept like he would punch out, and those were in the foreground, but his actual body was in the background. So in classic like Super Nintendo logic, if you're fighting a boss and any part of its body touches you, you usually like you get hit. It counts as being hit. If you're Mario, you die, or if you're it's a game with HP, you take damage and usually get a knockback. But in this game, those were not. It wasn't built like that. So the things that you would get hit by are the punch, but you could still walk through or walk past his body. So that was kind of cool because in different eras that was hard to do or wasn't done as much. But here it was interesting. So you could strategically maneuver around him as opposed to like in a Mario game, you'd have to find some way to like completely jump over him.
And this guy is fucking ugly. I just want to go for all these bosses. All these bosses are fucking ugly.
Yes, they're hideous. They're terrifying.
Yes. And I wouldn't have it any other way. So yeah, this guy you just kind of want to butt slam like the side of his face, and he takes damage.
Yeah.
So he can be a little tricky. Um, the next guy is the teddy bear with the mouse in it. It's an inflatable teddy bear.
Yeah.
I think this was like one of the most creative, well, not creative, but like one of the most. I don't know how to put it. Like it was smart. I think it's yeah. It was just a smart fight because you want to like tip the balloon over. Well, you want to pop him first. You want to throw the needle up at him, pop him,
Yep.
and then hit his foot to get him to swing over, and then hit the mouse that's like hanging out of the top of his head.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And you would just like
there's a lot going on. It's
you're
cool.
just like darting at it, like you're like ramming it like over and over, just hitting it with the little rat. It's funny.
Yeah, but it's cool. Like I like when there's that many layers to like get to the weakness, like it's
Mhm.
not like a classic Nintendo fight where like, oh man, don't hit my red hand. Like no, you kind of had to do a little bit of puzzle solving there. Like okay, I hit him in the ass with the needle. Okay, now what? I'll hit his foot, get him to tip over.
What is it with that in Nintendo platformers usually having just like the most like lamest bosses?
Yeah.
Like Mario bosses are pathetic.
Yeah, and they're always like, "Oh man, don't hit my obvious weak point." I think that's what I liked about these bosses is that they don't have obvious weak points.
Yeah, some of these took a couple tries to even just to figure out how to damage them.
Yeah, 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 yeah. You're kind of fucking around trying to figure it out for a minute.
Yeah.
So, which is it's fun. It's like refreshing again, where I can literally think of what's the last Mario game I played, like the newest one, Odyssey. There's literally that fight where it's like, "Don't hit my red hand." It's like, get out of here.
I think
Bullshit.
I think that shows it's weird because like a good game design, like I think it is bad game design because I get why they do that because they're expecting like children to be playing who don't know, but I think good game design would allow you to perhaps beat the bots faster if you knew like had greater strategies and they could provide those strategies for a more advanced gamer. But I think Nintendo just doesn't do that. Like they just go for the bare minimum on a lot of these bosses, and it's just there's no outside strategy.
We'll sort of talk about that in a minute too when I get to the post game stuff.
Okay.
The next fight is Catbat, which made me laugh because there's now a Crash Bandicoot character named Catbat that was in that like online game they did, like Crash Team game.
Yeah.
So now there's two Catbats that I know of. Yeah, it is exactly what it sounds like. It's a cat and a bat, and they're hideous. And this one I think was the most straightforward one because you had to like jump on the waves, and then charge into the thing on the cat looking thing on top.
Mm-hmm. This one took me a while to figure out. Actually, I don't know why. I mean, in retrospect, it seems pretty straightforward, but I don't know. It wasn't clicking to me. Like I was trying to pound his head, I think, and that's not how you do it.
Oh,
you like
yeah.
dash into it.
Yeah,
It just
you have
seemed
dash
clunky to
jump.
dash, but I guess that's also kind of Wario's thing. It's just kind of a clunky guy.
Well, I think by that point you've probably used that dash jump a few times, right? To
Yeah.
get through obstacles. So
Mhm.
you've probably already learned how to do it. So I guess the game just expects you to try everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool fight.
Um,
You know what these
yeah,
some of these like animations, like not obviously not as complex or detailed, but just from like a design perspective, some of these reminded me of Cuphead. We're just like these like
Yeah.
very bold, like almost like older style looking, cartoonish interpretations of these things. They
It's
gave me
time
the
for a fair battle. Begin.
yeah yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I can totally see like your comparison. This one remind, yeah, it's like there's actually like that Boston Cuphead that is like in the in the mouse hole, and the cat comes through the side of it and stuff.
Yeah,
It's like, yeah, no, I totally get that. Uh, you fight a clock.
I like that.
Yeah, me
I
too.
like that
It's pretty
clock.
cool. Yeah,
It's not the
you
hardest
had to hit,
fight, but it's like it's cool.
you had to hit a little dangly thing. What is that called? You know what that's called on a clock? A little dangly bit.
I don't know what it's called, but it's the
Yeah,
you know it's one of
let's.
the most iconic things from Chrono Trigger. Is it's the clock at the beginning.
Oh, Chrono Trigger tie.
Chrono Trigger.
Um, I just googled what's the dangly bit on a clock called, and I'm not seeing an answer. Does no one know? Oh, whatever. I'm just seeing what are the parts of a grandfather clock. I'm sure if I went into that, I could figure it out, but I'm
Yeah.
not looking for all the parts of a grandfather clock. Anyway, so you hit the dangly bit, and it swings back up and hits him, and that was cool. I
And
like
then he
that.
jumps out and then starts shitting eggs at you.
Yeah, then it's a bird with a bird. It's a bird and a bird, which is funny.
And that reminded me of Necky's Nuts.
Yeah, well, also that also reminded me of Cuphead. There's that fight in Cuphead where you're in the plane and you're shooting the bird in the clock, in the cuckoo
Mm.
clock, and then because like all those bosses have phases, and then he explodes, and then you're fighting him again, and then he dies, and then you're fighting him as he's getting carried to the hospital in the stretcher,
That's funny.
which is fucking awesome. Man, I fucking love that
That's
game.
hilarious.
What an awesome game. We need to cover that game sometime. Cuphead.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, you beat all the bosses, you get the golden passage, you can go through the golden passage and fight the golden diva, which is where Spencer's currently at in his paused game. Um, yeah. What did you think of the golden passage?
Um, it was a cool level. I don't hate it. Some general frustrations, but it's like it's fine. It's like
Yeah.
it's kind of like you just start out hitting the button, and then they're
Yeah,
like,
they
you
give you
have 9 minutes.
yeah, 9 minutes to get through the stage, and honestly, it's not that hard of a stage.
No,
I
no.
didn't think.
I think one of the problems with the game, though, and it's not really that much of a problem, but it is just something to think about with game design, is on some of these stages. Once you've played the stage once, it, the second time is like zero challenge. It's like
I'm gonna talk about that
okay, because
in a
like
minute.
I did that one and I kind of figured out all the little intricacies and then I ran out of time. And so I had to start over, and then it was just like, oh, I know what to do. Go and then it was like super easy. Um, but
So yeah,
it's
there is.
it is what it is.
Yeah, and they try to like have you use different elements throughout the game that you've learned for the final stage, which is I think that's good design for a
Hmm.
platformer, to do that. So good job, Wario guys. And then the Golden Diva. Spencer's currently at the Golden Diva. It's an ugly ghost lady in the mask, and not just in a mask, and like 5 masks. Like how many fucking masks do you need, lady? Jesus.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I mean, it looks like it seems like it was just like almost a rehash of some of the fights before. She shoots
yeah,
the eggs out, and
it's kind of an underwhelming final boss, in
mm,
my opinion. Like I don't know, for Wario, I want some like I'm trying to think like what was the last boss in the first Wario Land was that genie, right?
yeah,
Like I don't know, like this doesn't even add up to that. Like I want something cool. I don't know. This is probably my least favorite part of the game. It's just that boss. It's
I
like,
thought it was cool. I thought it was cool. I died at the part where she's stomping the ground and then spikes reveal under you.
yeah.
She had probably like 2 HP left, and I just ran out of room and either ran out of room or ran out of time. It was probably both. But I think I could definitely do it if I did it one more time.
I I get that like it's supposed to be her pyramid, right? And that's the lady that was cursed or whatever.
Mm,
Cool thematically,
yeah.
but yeah. So you do beat her, Spencer, and you get multiple endings, and the endings are all based on how many of the treasures. Yes, okay. So you know when you fight a boss and there's like three chests behind them,
Yeah.
um, and if you beat them in time, you can get all three. And then it's like the last 10 seconds or minute or whatever it is. I think it's the last minute. They'll start taking them away.
Yeah.
If you're able to get all of the treasure, the cat well Wario escapes with a big bag of gold. He does that in all the endings.
Yeah.
Um, but if you're able to get all of the treasure, the cat that Wario chased into
Mm.
the pyramid turns into a princess, a beautiful princess, and then gives Wario a kiss on the cheek, and then disappears, like floats away. And Wario's like, "Huh?" And then all the other endings are variations of that, just worse. So the second to worst ending, sorry, the second to best ending, it's just like an identical version of that, but she's like slightly less pretty. Then the third best ending, is the same thing, but the princess looks like Wario. It's like a girl version of Wario.
Mm.
Um, and then the worst ending, and this is also may have to call Chris Hansen in here. He looks like a little boy or something, like a little creepy little boy.
Oh.
And then Wario looks grossed out by the kiss on the cheek. He's like, ugh.
Well, I mean, I guess that's the appropriate
Yeah,
reaction.
no, it is. It is. It's just like what?
But why would they add that in there? That's weird.
Yeah. So those are all the main endings. I mentioned earlier that this game has a high amount of replayability, and I'm going to explain that. So whenever you beat the game, you actually have hard mode unlocked, and then once you beat hard mode, you have I forget what it's called, but it's like the hardest mode, and they're more than just difficulty sliders. So what they actually did is in hard mode, they changed the location of all of the gems in the
Mm.
levels to harder locations. Sometimes they're in like hidden walls, sometimes they're just harder to find. And so your exploration skills are put to the test, and they add some more enemies. And there's actually like unique enemies that were in the main campaign that are actually like
Okay.
in the stages too. The hardest mode, I think this is the most interesting one. The hardest mode, what they actually do is that they do all of that. They you start every level with just one health as well,
Mm.
and whenever you come out of the portal to like start the stage, sometimes you'll automatically land on the frog clock.
Oh.
So you'll have so you'll like start the stage and you'll only have like 7 minutes to get through the stage, and they
Wow.
they automatically yeah. So like the two of the difficulties are more than just difficulty sliders. They actually like change the way you play the game fundamentally,
That's
and like
cool.
yeah, and they become their own modes. So like there's actually like quite a bit of replayability, even though you're reusing the same assets. Like it's pretty cool.
All right. I like that.
Yeah. So
That's neat.
neat, neat. Um, yeah, Wario Land 4. Do you want to talk about what we thought, or do you want to get to like critical reception?
Let's do critical reception.
Okay, you want to do that? It's on the Wikipedia.
Yeah. Sold 720,000 copies and earned $20 million by August 2006. That's like a 5-year period?
Hmm.
Okay. During the period between January 2000 and August 2006, it was the 33rd highest selling game launched for the Game Boy Advance, DS, or PSP in the United States. It sold 2.2 million copies worldwide.
Not bad.
I mean, it was a launch title, right? Like you said.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
but I mean, it seems more advanced than a launch title. That's kind of cool. It received critical acclaim. IGN gave it a 9 out of 10, or outstanding. Fantastic graphics, awesome transparency effects. Push the GBA to its visual limits. How do they know what the limits of the GBA are if it's a launch game?
Maybe this is post. I don't know. So
The first
some
game,
of those,
first game comes out. It doesn't get better than this.
well, like some of those outlets, well, like especially back in early internet, would go back and like re-review old games. You know,
Okay.
so maybe that's what that was. But yeah, yeah, that would be hilarious if it was just like, this is it.
An incredibly entertaining, diverse, humorous addition to the Mario Wario Legacy. But they're still calling it like a duo legacy. Interesting. I always kind of viewed them as separate. It's challenging and creative, but not as outright frustrating as Wario Land 3. Nothing new to the Wario Land enthusiast, but it's enjoyable nonetheless. Who cares what Nintendo Power says? Was a runner-up for GameSpot's annual Best Game Boy Advance Game and among console games Best Platform Game Awards. Got an average of 88 out of 100 on Metacritic. Wow, it reviewed quite well. I'm surprised they didn't make a billion more of these. I guess because they switched the brand over, they didn't want to confuse the brand.
Well, and also like we said, like shortly after this, R&D one, they did WarioWare, which became, I think WarioWare became way more successful than this, in terms of like sales and popularity.
Mm.
But also R&D one's last game is Zero Mission.
Yeah.
So I think without R&D one around to really push for Wario Land, like Nintendo didn't have a need for it, you know. Like they just sort of were like content with Wario being the wacky party game series now. And then
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah.
It's too bad because there's some really good ideas here, and I would like to see them on more advanced hardware.
Well, I mean, you know what? Eventually, we could play that Wii one. You don't really need motion for that much, so it's like it's pretty easy to emulate. I think
Okay.
you would just need to like, I don't know how Wii emulation works, but I think you can map motions to commands, right,
It's
or
called
something.
Weemulation.
Okay, tell me more about it.
That's all I got.
Who invented it? Yeah, oh come on, you're gonna open this rabbit hole. This is it.
Shigeru Miyamoto.
Wiimoto, there we go.
There you go.
Because like yeah, the only motions you really need to do no, actually, you know what? I lied. I think there is actually a little more because like I know you need to shake the Wiimote to do some stuff, but you hold it sideways to play. I think, but I lied. There actually are like submarine levels where you have to kind of like guide it around.
Don't lie to me.
I think I lied, Spencer. I'm sorry. But it would still be a fun game to talk about at some point.
Hmm.
Because it technically is the only game, the only Wario Land game after this that uses this same like setup, you know,
Yeah.
like the same style. So, yeah. So let's get into what we thought about Wario Land 4. Spencer, you're the Wario Land virgin. You're the Wario virgin here. You've only played one other Wario Land game, right? What did you think about Wario Land 4?
What did I think about Wario Land 4? It was interesting. You have to shed your thoughts about it being a platformer, I think. Just and Wario Land enthusiasts have long ago done that. But it's just as a person who's not familiar with the series, you look at it and you assume that there's like an element of platforming in it, and I guess there kind of is, but not really. Like you're not going to be tested on it. And switch your mindset to thinking of it as like a puzzle action game, I guess, with a lot of character. And I think once you view it from that lens, it's really good. Some really really cool ideas and some new concepts that haven't really been explored. I think at this point of a heist game, where it's like,
Mhm.
what if the game was you go into a level, steal it, and then come back the way you came in. Interesting. I think some of the levels really flourished under that direction, and occasionally it stumbled. But you know what? When you're trying new shit, that just kind of happens. But at the end, it's a Wario game, so I think that's part of the charm. And I give it 2 thumbs up. This
Two,
is the best Wario
two,
game I've played.
two Spencers out of Spencer.
2 Spencers in Spencerville.
Two Spencers in Spencerville.
Yeah, that's my new review system.
just put up like your face.
It's deeply
times.
flawed. Yeah. What do you think about Wario Land 4?
So I think I'm a little more attached to the character of Wario than you are,
Mm.
and like his weird, stupid antics.
Mm.
Because yeah, just the Wario series in general, be it Land or Where or the little other games, they've always seemed to be just like weird experimental stuff for Nintendo to try out, just like ideas they have or like goofy comedies. I don't know. It's just like it's wacky. Like that's the whole thing with the series is that, like it's stupid and wacky. Um, but I do think that Land 4 is like a pretty competent game with a lot of cool ideas. Maybe where it is a launch title, some of the ideas aren't as fleshed out as I would like them to be. I would have loved to see them do another entry on GBA where they tried this again,
Mm-hmm.
but with some more time to really work on it. But I really like this game. I thought this game was really good. Um, I would give it. I'd give it 3 Spencers in Spencerville. Um,
There's only
that, that
two
that's
max.
also my rating. My rating. Oh, okay. So one's bad, two's good.
Well, 0 is bad.
Oh,
One
so
is like all right,
okay.
and 2 is like play
This
this.
is
So
okay.
3, I don't know what
Yeah.
3 you're gonna do. It doesn't. 3 is pretty
Three's
good.
three's ascending.
Yeah, 3 is Spencer's Jesus.
If I no, but like if I had a list of Wario games in general, this would definitely be near the top for me. I think it's pretty good, and a lot of ideas are great, and the game is just funny and fun to play. And there's a few blemishes, but like honestly, it's hard to find a 2D platformer without a few blemishes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like they all have parts where you're like, if that Frozen Factory stage is that for this game, then honestly, that's not that bad for me.
No,
Um,
yeah, that's the worst, and it was still a competent level.
yeah. So, in terms of what we've played on the channel, yeah, this game is leagues above Wario Land 1. Leaps and bounds
Yeah.
above that game. Um, yeah. Has this game brought you closer to Wario? Do you love him more or less?
I think I like him more because of this game.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Big Wario fan.
Huge. Perhaps the
Huge.
number 1 Wario fan.
Oh shit, dude!
Perhaps not.
How can you be when I'm the number one?
I guess we'll have to do a Wario off sometime.
Hey, Wario's on my shirt. There he is.
Oh.
He's right there. I mean, the other guys are here too, but there's Wario.
Yeah,
I don't have just a Wario shirt, so
So then, are you really like a number 1 fan? If you don't have a shirt with just Wario on it?
Oh, hold on. Do you see? I see something funny though. Under my Mario Bros shirt, which has the plumbers and Waluigi on it, I have a shirt on that's just Waluigi. I thought that was funny. I want to like be somewhere and be like, "Oh man, it's kind of hot today." And then take off my shirt and it just says it's Waluigi time.
Yeah, it's Waluigi time.
Because as much as I love Wario, I might love Waluigi more because he's dumber. And you know what? And Nintendo knows that, and that's why they don't give him anything. They're like, we can't do anything with this guy.
Yeah, you can literally do nothing with Waluigi.
Like, what do we do with him? He's stupid.
And yet everybody's like clamoring for a Waluigi game. What would a Waluigi game look like? Do you think?
They're okay. So before I give you my idea, I forget who it was. It was some pretty notable team. Might have been Camelot. You know what? It was Camelot because Camelot actually created Waluigi. Fun fact.
For the tennis
With
game?
hmm
Gotcha.
So and then they proceeded to use Waluigi pretty prominently, like in all the GameCube sports games as like a comedy character, in like the intros and stuff. They did pitch an idea to Nintendo for a Waluigi game where Waluigi would be competing in a number of like competitions, and the whole thing would be he would cheat, like he would have to cheat
Okay.
to win all of them, and that was the idea. And I don't think it went further than that, but that was like their pitch to Nintendo, and Nintendo was like, nah.
I like that
But
idea. It kind of reminds me of Zelda, like the Breath of
yeah,
the Wild, where they put you in like a dungeon. It's like you need to get this ball into that hoop. We don't care how you do it, just find a way. It'd be like that, but like Waluigi trying to cheat at sports. That's genius.
sports or whatever it is, yeah, I'd be like, okay, Well, they never said specifically sports. Like I don't know. Like,
Oh,
it
well,
could even be like a game. I think there's a lot of creative ideas there. Like imagine like a chapter where Waluigi enters into like a poker competition,
yeah,
and then he's got to find creative ways to see the other player's hands so that he can win.
yeah.
Like there's a lot of fun ideas you could do with that.
Oh yeah.
you know, so I think that's cool. I like that idea.
Now, what would your idea be?
Um, uh, that's hard. It would be it'd be a third person shooter. No, I don't know. I have no idea. What would my Waluigi game look like? Damn, that's hard to come up
I
with an
think it would
idea.
look something like Manhunt.
Where but it's Waluigi. He has to like survive. It's like it's like a snuff film in the Mushroom Kingdom,
Yeah.
and Waluigi's like stealthing around, putting plastic bags over people's heads. I
Didn't they put Manhunt on the Switch or something? Wasn't
don't
that one of
know.
the only like AO games or something?
The Wii had Manhunt 2,
Oh, okay, that might have been
and that was like a controversial thing.
it.
And
Yeah.
like they had to like blur out the snuff scenes because you had
Yeah.
to because in order to do them you had to actually like say for example you put a plastic bag over somebody's head, you had to take the Wiimote and actually like emulate it.
Yeah.
And so they like made them put like a crappy blurry filter over a lot of it, like it was like colorful filter. So you can't really see what's happening.
They should just
Um,
put Waluigi's face on it and just have him making goofy faces. Wah! Yeah, wah! As you're killing him. Yeah, just kill Waluigi and all your.
That's the funniest. There's a that game starts in in a sane asylum, and there's literally a guy in there that if you walk up to his because I played a lot of Manhunt too actually. When you walk up to his cell, he'll throw shit at you. He'll just start throwing his shit at you, which
Mm.
is crazy. And now I just want to see Waluigi get shit thrown at him.
Wah! I just bought this jacket. Wah! You got shit all over it.
Dude, that's an idea. Waluigi goes to an insane asylum. That's where the game starts. Oh man, that's a whole concept there, like a Mushroom Kingdom insane asylum. What
Mm.
like how does that work there? What are the logistics of that?
Wah! Keep talking about my parents. Wah! I got daddy issues.
Ooh, it's an ongoing therapy session. Okay, this is my pitch for it to know.
Okay. Okay.
Waluigi's in therapy, right?
Yeah.
And every stage is a memory he's telling the therapist that is where you're trying to figure out what trauma caused him to be the way he is. So
Okay.
yeah, so it's like between the stages you have like a little therapy session, and then like that's the world map, is like his
Mm.
thoughts, and then the stages are like his dad beating his mom. It's like
Oh,
it's like stage one,
stage one.
stage one.
Stage one is your dad beats the shit out of your mom.
Stage one.
I'd be curious what stage 10 looks like.
This is an ambitious game.
Yeah.
Stage 10. I think of Waluigi trauma. Stage 10 would be like his prom date ditching him.
See, that seems less intense than his dad
Well,
beating his mom.
Well, yeah. But like we're going chronologically
Oh, okay.
of like trauma. So like not all traumas are the same. So,
Yeah, some traumas aren't traumas.
yeah.
Because
That's my pitch. I think it's a good pitch.
then you could put in like Wario in there. Like he does a heist with Wario. Like he tries to steal
Yeah,
with
Wario
Wario.
is like his only friend, and even then, give a shit about him.
Because nobody
Because
does.
Wario, I mean, yeah, because I mean, like, where is Waluigi in all the Wario games? He's never there. So
That's true.
Wario owns a game company, and he never involved. Who's I guess supposed to be his best friend.
Oh, they're not brothers?
We don't know. We don't know who they are, where they came from. We know Wario, but Waluigi, we have no idea what happened to him. That's what I'm saying. This is an open book.
Yeah, you could really just the lore is wide open.
Yeah. All we know is that Waluigi exists. That's all we know.
Okay.
This guy.
Well, everybody that's in the comments, pitch your own Waluigi game.
Give it to Telltale Games too.
Okay.
Yeah. Have them do it. And you have to make a choice in the first stage. Like, do you let your mom get beat, or like, do you get beat?
Yeah, who takes the beating, Waluigi or his mother?
They all, and they have the same outcome.
Yeah, I mean, it's all in the past, so you're still in therapy.
Yeah, so it's not going to affect anything. It's just morally at that time, the player has to make the choice: should I protect my mom, or what?
It's like, look, you can pick one or the other, but you're always a piece of shit. Like that's just who you are, Waluigi. It does not matter.
You can't change the past. What a genius idea for like a choose your own adventure, is that nothing ever can change.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. Wario Land, huh? Good. This was a fun episode. I like talking about this game.
Yeah, good game. I wish in retrospect that I had put video footage of the game instead of
Wario.
I didn't put any video footage. I just put these screens up of like the wiki, so the images will be very static. Oh well. Whatever.
It's okay. There's a lot of other Wario games out there, buddy, and we can do a lot of Wario videos.
In the comments below, do you want us to do more Wario games? I don't think you do.
Do you want more Wario? You probably do.
Oh, okay.
I think so.
Okay.
I think we're gonna draw in the Wario crowd here.
I think that should be our push. All the videos that we release will be ways to try to tap into the Wario market.
Yeah. Oh my gosh! I just looked at the other game that was supposed to be inspired by this. The other indie game, Anton Blast.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, you've already seen it at the bottom of the bottom of the Wikipedia in the related article. That guy just looks like a Wario. If you go to like the
yeah, he does.
Yeah, that's just a Wario. Oh, it came out this year. That's why I haven't heard of it. I played it.
Did you say
Pizza Tower was last year?
Pizza Tower is good.
Dude, we should play Pizza Tower. If you like this game, you would love Pizza Tower. That game's fucking insane.
Okay.
That game is, I love that game. This is Waru Alex signing off. Is Waru in the show?
Waru Spencer. It's been a pleasure.
Do we sign off? Do we do our official sign off?
Okay, yeah, let's do the official sign off. You do yours first.
Okay. Hey, map heads! Great episode today. This is Alex signing off from the Button Mappers. Yeah. Don't forget to brush your teeth and hug your mom.
Hey, you push my buttons, Alex. You know what? You people at home, you push my buttons too. Make sure you push the subscribe button, the like button, ring the notification bell, and leave a comment on what you think about Wario Land 4. It's been a pleasure. It's time to blast off into the Twin Towers.
Into the Twin Towers, where people are listening to Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.
In the Twin Towers as 9/11 happens.
You never see Wario and 9/11 footage in the same place.
That's true. Why is that? We need to look deeper. Join us next week as we as we really take a deep dive into the Wario 9/11 conspiracy.
Yeah. Until then, peace out.